This is Zach from Docusoft. Today I'm going to show you our references page. This is the client manager or CRM or contact manager or practice manager. So I'm on my landing page of our cloud-based software on a browser. I've logged in with an internet connection. I can either go on add reference or references. We've called it references because our software can be used for accountancy, where you need clients. It could be customers. For insolvency, it could be cases. You could have projects set up under here. So we've called it references, so it really covers every area for us. If you go on to add reference, that's how you can create a reference or create a client within the system, or you can do that within the references screen anyway. So we're going to look at just the references screen. So if I click onto that, it will take us into the client manager. And from here, you'll be able to see down the left-hand side, I've got all of my folders set up, and because I do demonstrations for, as I said, insolvency practitioners, for legal, for accountancy, I've got lots of different types of folder down the side. If we're going to look at, for instance, at the client one, which is our accountancy template, to be able to show you our contact manager slash practice manager, you'll see I've got a list of my companies down here for my clients, and I can view any of these clients by clicking on any of them and it will bring their contact card up. But before I do this, let's have a look at adding a contact. So I can go to actions at the top, add a client, and it'll take us to the add client screen. At this point, I can choose which folder I want to add the client to. So if I choose the client folder, for instance, and then I can either fill in these details myself for my clients, or we could use Company's House to bring that information in. So if I click on the Company House button with the integration with Company House, I'd be able to search for a company via name or company number. So for instance, if I put in Docusoft here, hit search, it'll bring up Docusoft. I can click on them, and as down this right hand side, you'll be able to see that I've got all of the directors for Docusoft and all the past directors as well. And if I wanted to bring that information in, I would just tick which contacts I want to add. I've also got all the company details, so that's the address, the region, date of creation, and all of the information when their tax finances are due. All of the information's up here for you, and this can be mapped directly into the client's user-defined fields for you. Once you're happy and you've ticked everything that you need, you'd hit the process button, and that would create that client for you and pull in that information. On our demo one, we don't have all of this mapped, so normally you would have all your address in here and any user-defined fields would be all set up, pulling that information through to them. Once you've filled in all the details, you've got to create a manager who looks after them, where you got this client from, whether they were referred to you, etc., their status, what type of business they are. You've got a main address, a billing address, a registered address. You can see it's pulled the registered address through from Company's House. Once you're happy with it, you'd hit the submit button and that client will be saved into the system. Going back to the client manager, if I look at any of these clients, so if we, for instance, look at Able Recovery, when I click on him, I will get his client card showing up at the bottom. And you'll see from here, we've got all of the information about the client, the company name, their ID, we've got their address, their main address, their billing address, and also contacts for them down the bottom here. Also, we have tags along here for our accountancy template for our practice manager. So you've got all of the information you'd want about this client: income details, previous accountant, other details, service required, accounts and returns details. So if we click on that one, for instance, you've got the period end, you've got the company house year end, and this is one of the bits that would map in once it's mapped to pull in from company's house, HMRC year end, all of the information that you would need against your client. VAT as well, so you can bring all of these up and fill it in as you go. Also, we've got a documents one, so without even going into our DMS, we can see the documents for this client. I've got the file name, the source, and this also shows any activity against the client as well. So this document was downloaded, document was registered, and so you can see all the documents and any activity on those documents within this, and you can see there's 548 items in here. We've also got a notes box, so you can write notes about the client. Could be when you last called them, or it could be company information that you need to keep. Anything you want, you've got that note box to type into as well. If you go down to the contact part on your client, you can click on the contact and it will take you to the contact page. And so this is just against that selected client, Able Recovery, and you can see Andy Able is the main contact for there. And I can add a new contact from this screen, and you can fill in and you can choose them as the main contact or leave that blank, so it's just another contact against the client. Make sure you've always got the manager in here of who looks after that client from your company. Reason being is if you want them to publish anything to the portal to this contact, then it needs to have a manager in there for that information to go through. So you just fill in a new details. Once you're happy, you've got their email address in there, you hit submit and it would add a new contact for you underneath that client. Also from here I can change views. So for instance, I want to view I want a VAT view, for instance. I could find the user defined fields that are about VAT. So for instance, VAT returns. So if I hide this column for now, hide column, and keep going along to pull any other information in that I need. Let's have a look at VAT frequency. So we're going to hide that column. VAT period, hide that column. VAT member state, hide that column. VAT number, hide that column. And the VAT address, hide that one as well. The reason why I'm hiding them is because I'm going to re-add them back in, but I'm going to add them at the beginning for myself. So gone back to the beginning, and then I can right click up here again and go to column chooser. And from this column chooser, I can add VAT address next to the company. And I could add the VAT frequency next to that. And it's just adding all these columns back in again, but where you want them to show. And once you're happy that you've got all of the information that you wanted on that screen, what we can do now is close the column chooser, and then we're going to save this view as a new view called VAT. And then next time you come into the system, you can go onto views and you can choose a different view and you'll watch all the columns change. And then if I could go back to my VAT view that I've just created, and you'll see it will bring those columns back up to the front again for me. And what this means is you can ascend and descend via the frequency or the period, the VAT period end. You just click on the column and it will ascend and descend via the dates that are in there 14th of the 8th, 1st of 11th. So you can have all of your dates here and you can work through each one as you go along from this screen. So you can really change it up, and you can also filter from here. So you just right click and filter row, and you could filter via this information as well. So for instance, you could put in quarterly, so you want to look at everything that's VAT frequency quarterly, and it'll only bring up the clients that are on the quarterly frequency. So you can really get down to the data that you want to use. You can also group them as well, so you put a group panel in, and then you can drop, for instance, the let's look at the VAT period, drop that in there, and then it will filter it down via the dates, the VAT period end dates, and then you can click on each one and view the client from underneath it. So you can really filter down to how you want to see that information. Also, we talked about UDFs. Let me just jump back out of here. And close down these column panels. So I've gone onto my customers folder now. This isn't one that's got all of the accountancy template on. So when I click on a client, for instance, if I look at Hills Premier, you'll see that he hasn't got all of that information and all those tags running along with here. I've created one, which is login details, contact log, and I've also created a test one. So I'm going to show you how to create a tag and then create a UDF from here as well. So if I go to configuration, I can create a UDF tag, and we'll go new tag, and we'll give it a name. Let's say, for instance, VAT information. And then I can give it a tag image, so we'll use the VAT one. And then I just save that, and it will create a new tag for me. And that means now I can create user-defined fields under that tag. So if I go back to configuration and go to UDF, CRM UDF, and this is where I can create those user-defined fields. So if we go on new, and we'll look at, for instance, VAT frequency. In fact, let's do VAT period end. For example, and I'm going to choose text from here because I don't want to drop down list. I'm going to need a date, so we'll go with text, and we'll say this is an updatable field. I'm going to choose my VAT information tag that I've just created, and then I'm going to choose format date, and then from here I can set up reminder tasks. So automatically it will send me a reminder, a task, a CRM task as a reminder, and I can have it so it'll send a text and an email out to my client automatically as well when this task is created. So I could do it that I want it to remind me 1 month before as a start date for the task, and also a reminder 2 weeks before. And then I can choose the section. So we'll put it under VAT, and then you can have templates set up within here as well for the task, which is in another screen. And I can choose a UDF action as well. So request an upload of documents or send an email to them. So we'll go with the request upload. And then from here, I would just save this, and that's created a VAT period end. And what that also does is once there's a date in there, it will automatically set you up a task 1 month before and 2 weeks before with a reminder for you to look at that. And so it's automatically doing that for you. So it's a way of setting up workflow for yourself. One. Also, I could create a UDF. So if I go on the new button and create another date one, but we'll call it tax year end. It's a text box, updatable, and we'll put it under the VAT information one again. It's a date. I can almost also go on enable reoccurrence, so it will recur every year. So what that means is it will change the date for you every year as when it reoccurs. And I can also have it associating a task with the reoccurrence, and you can set up when that's going to remind you. So 1 month before, 2 weeks before, and the action for it. So from there, I'm going to get a reoccurrence every year of the same date every year, and also, or I could do it every month, or every day, or every week, or every 3 months. And then you're also setting yourself a task for that reoccurrence to remind you to do it. Again, it's creating a workflow for yourself. So that's the references tab. That's the adding a client, looking at the client card, and being able to use different views and create UDFs and create tags. Please watch my other video for creating a template and doing standard letter merges on a different video. Thank you for watching.